Good evening. Ole? Ole? All right. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence. I am really excited for us to be at this point where we're doing our closing ceremony for the Diaspora Partnership Accelerator. My name is Magali Emile Baker, and I am your hostess for this evening. And I'm also a proud co-founder of Haiti Renewal Alliance, also known as HRA in the DMV area. At HRA, we are one of the partners of this very innovative collaboration to engage non-traditional actors, such as diasporas, as well as private sectors, for greater impact in the humanitarian assistance sector. The scope and role of diasporas has evolved and continues to evolve. Tonight, we're going to hear a lot more about the Diaspora Partnership Accelerator, also known as DPA, and we're going to hear some amazing testimonies, some lessons learned for the sector as well as for diasporas, and how can we improve partnerships and collaborations with non-traditional actors such as private sector as well as with donors. So without further ado, I am going to start with our national anthem.
I would like to welcome everybody here. It is an honor and a pleasure for me to host the closing ceremony of the Diaspora Partnership, working with USAID. First of all, I would like to thank USAID. The fact that USAID take to work with the diaspora, and we commend USAID for that. Thank you very much for letting me open the ceremony. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Ambassador. So we're going to move now to our special remarks, and we have a wonderful lineup. I'm just going to read them all so that we can have a flow of each one. We have Maggie Schmitz, the Division Chief at USAID, Bureau of Humanitarian Assistance, Private Sector, Diaspora, and Innovation Division, followed by Madame Caroline Anderson, Response Manager at USAID, DHA's Haiti Complex Emergency Response Management Team, followed by Dr. Danielle Villaques, the Team Lead at BHA's Diaspora and Civic Engagement Team, and then last we'll have Mr. Etop Ekanem, the Project Director, Vistan. And these, it's been a wonderful pleasure for HRA to work with Vistant and BHA, as well as Miyamoto. So I'm really excited to hear more about how they felt the experience can advance future collaborations. So without further ado, Madame Schmitz, thank you.
What is key for everyone in the room to know is that this division represents new partners and new partnerships, new ways of working, new resources, new skills, new expertise to humanitarian assistance. And as Magali just pointed out, these are not new actors to humanitarian assistance. These are established humanitarians who've been working on the ground. But what we are trying to do is bring them into USAID and the formal humanitarian system in order to leverage and really benefit from what they bring. Because as you will see this afternoon, diaspora communities bring so much to traditional humanitarian assistance. They make it more efficient, they make it quicker, they make it more equitable, they make it much more accessible. I won't spend much more of your time because this is going to be a great program, but I just want to say that this project in particular really represents the future of what BHA and humanitarian assistance can do when we really work together in partnerships with humanitarian actors that are already working on the ground. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to my colleague, Caroline Andreessen. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Caroline Andreessen. I am part of USAID BHA's response management team. And I really appreciate having this event. So in a world where our attention is very frequently taken to other crises or other parts of the world that are in the headlines more often, it's a pleasure to be able to focus right now on Haiti and really focus on the great work that is being done to help those that are most in need. Even though the operating environment is extremely challenging, humanitarian organizations, including USAID partners, continue to reach the people that are in need of emergency assistance. So a statistic that brought some happiness to me the other week when I read it was that all of our partners combined are reaching about 700,000 people in the first 3 months of 2023 alone. That is a massive effort and would not be possible without great sacrifice that we know our partners are going through. And as we were thinking about what points to highlight today, the team was really reflecting on When we have these quick onset disasters where we deploy quickly, it is easiest, if you will, to think of the larger international partners that we partner with. But in Haiti, what we have really been trying to do, particularly in the last year, is some concerted outreach to local organizations so that as we take a longer term view of responding to emergency needs in Haiti, that we are not just only going to international partners, that we are really working with local partners on the ground. So I am really happy to be here and hear more about this accelerator. This is exactly what we need to be doing. And I thank everyone for the work that went into this project, and I'm looking forward to hearing more about it. So thank you for your time.
Good afternoon, everybody. Nice to see some of you I've seen only on Zoom for 2 years. We've been working on this. My name is Daniela Villacres, and I am the team lead at USAID for the team that's been steering this project. I want to talk to you today a little bit about the origins of the project, and then I'll pass it on to my colleagues so we can start getting into the nitty-gritty of what these great projects are all about. So the DPA started, it's actually with a phone call with Magali. I don't know if she remembers, but it was a spring night, I think April. I called her, and HRA and our other diaspora colleagues, who I speak to frequently, there are challenges for how diaspora and other non-traditional actors and new partners can engage with USAID. And it's frustrating. And so we put our heads together and we talked about, well, how can we address this challenge head on? And that's how the DPA was born. The challenge often is that in our typical funding arrangements, we have new partners, non-traditional actors, smaller actors, diaspora organizations who often engage as subs, because that's the option open to them, as opposed to getting direct funding as a prime. And in the arrangement where diaspora groups engage as subs, oftentimes what happens is the dynamics are such where the prime sets the vision, they set the objectives, the work plans, and the subs or the diaspora group execute the prime's vision. And at the very, very core, the DPA was about putting diaspora in the driver's seat. And this project is a first for BHA, where we really have a demand-driven, bottom-up approach to diaspora engagement, where we're really trying to empower diaspora to work with local communities, to work with local partners, to do something different. At the very, very core, it was really about testing an innovative partnership model. And we were very lucky to have Miyamoto with us, who was on board to try out this new partnership model, to sort of test the limits of how we can stretch these dynamics so that it works for all of us. And today I'm excited to talk about all of the successes we've had, the lessons we've learned. Also, operating in the context of Haiti was very challenging given the evolving situation there. And the last thing I want to highlight before passing it on to my colleagues is also that what was important and interesting about this project was not only working with new actors, but is that it is situated at an important crossroads for BHA, but for all of us as a humanitarian community. We are at a crossroads where the way we traditionally approach HA is really no longer working. We need to find new solutions and new approaches, working with local actors. So the DPA was designed to also head-on address the localization agenda, to really engage with local actors and put them in the driver's seat, working hand in hand with diaspora. A second point I want to highlight is that the DPA was designed to address issues of diversity and inclusivity in humanitarian assistance, about bringing in new perspective and new voices into the system so that we empower diaspora groups and their communities to not only identify their own priorities and solutions, but implement them. And at the core, this new partnership dynamic was what we aimed to do with these 3 micro-projects. So with that, I will pass it on to my colleague Atop, who has been instrumental in implementing this project and steering it forward.
Thank you, Daniela. Hello, all. Thank you all for coming. This is an amazing time for us to all come together at the end of this project. My name is Ato Buchanan, and I'm the project director with Vistant. And we have, as our position as Prime, really kind of manage the contracts and the activities and deliverables from a distance, as the real folks that were on the ground, the companies, Friends of Matawa Hope, and just the work that they have done, it's just been tremendous. And we're very excited that we're coming to this close of the project because that means that things have been accomplished. In our role, we have successfully been able to manage a small amount of money to make a large impact. I think this project started with just under $1 million, and we've awarded 5 contracts from it. So, I mean, I would just imagine if we had a larger funding pool to do more, we could definitely have done more. But unfortunately, that just wasn't the case in this situation. However, I think when we utilize projects like this as a test to see what we can do with a little, it can really set up another project to be larger and to make more impact in the future. And that's what we hope that we have accomplish with the likes of HRA, Miyamoto, Hope, Friends of Matawa. We just thank you all for the efforts that you have placed into this contract. It was a tremendous challenge coming through COVID, still continuing to do the work over the period of 2 years, starting this back in 2021 when it was started with a hackathon, a Shark Tank-like idea. Everything was virtually awarded to all the companies that applied, and everything just kind of eventually happened and things got going. But it was a challenge, and I know that there was challenges for each company as they tried to complete their project deliverables, but ultimately they were successful. And that's a testament to the will that they had to accomplish their job. So we're thankful for that. And again, our position really was to stay out of the way. Stay out of the way and let the companies do the job, because they were the ones on ground, not us. And thank you for USAID for allowing us to have this process shepherded from our side. We're appreciative of the opportunity, and we're just can't wait to hear some more exciting stories and information as we go on in the program. Thank you.
So for those of you we do have the competition on YouTube, for those of you who are not familiar with the DPA. Part of the competition, the first part of the competition, it was in 2 phases, was as Etop said, the Shark's Tank. We call it HRA's Investors Tank. It is modeled after Shark's Tank. And we were actually surprised as to how many people competed. We had over 60 applications. We went through them thoroughly, and we identified for 3 sectors: health, agriculture, as you saw, as well as health, agriculture, and shelter. So this is the Investors Tank sort of recap for those of you who do watch Shark's Tank. And so I'm really excited now for us to have a conversation with all of the players. We have HRA's, one of our superstar board members, Natalie Lioto. She will be the moderator of this wonderful conversation. Natalie Lioto.
As Magali said, I've been supporting HRA since they started, maybe a year or so after you started. And my experience has been mostly working in the Caribbean, Latin America, but mostly specifically on Haiti. So a lot of the work that HRA has been doing with this particular project is very dear to me in a way, because a few years ago, right before the earthquake, right after the earthquake, we were doing similar things when I was at the Pan American Development Foundation. I don't know if anybody's heard of the LEAD project, which was focusing on diaspora investments in Haiti. So I'm very happy to hear that this is continuing in different shapes and different forms. And I'm looking forward to speaking to a lot of you about what you're all doing today. But let me invite to the table, if I may, the following people. Dr. Daniela Villacres, Etop Ekanem, Fermin Bakker, Elizabeth Petillo, Mr. Cody Emmanuel, Beverly Malbranche, and James Mayer, if you would please take a seat. I'm going to take the moderator's privilege of asking the first questions. And if I may, I will, I'm going to make this a little bit interactive. And as we go along, I'll ask some of the audience if they have some questions for today. So my question, I would like to start the questions really, let me ask HRA this question. How would you describe the Partnership Accelerator Initiative?
Well, that's a great question, and that Daniela spoke about it, how that this whole thing, this Diaspora Partnership Accelerator begun. It's really with a phone call, as she described, and we were brainstorming and thinking about, because one of the things that we at HR, we always say that we have a lot of organizations in the diaspora that are doing a lot of work, and what they're lacking has always been the funding mechanism for us, for them to continue to do the work that they're doing. So this was a way to really bring in the diaspora within the sphere of humanitarian assistance, working directly with USAID. As you know, the biggest funder of humanitarian assistance, I should say. And we always look at USAID, particularly the BHA, whenever there is a disaster, to assist us in responding. But how do we really make, drive an impact in our local community? So I would say that the Diaspora Partnership Accelerator is the vehicle really to facilitate interaction between USAID as the biggest, as one of the biggest donors in humanitarian assistance, and also directly to work directly with the diaspora.
Thank you, Fiume. Well, for the BHA, Daniela, what would you say your experience was in terms of connecting the activities that and selecting the recipients of these awards with linkages in humanitarian assistance? Can you provide a little bit more detail on that?
Hello. I think for us, the project was really about pushing the boundaries of how BHA works. It's what Maggie said, our division chief. Our division is really about doing things differently, testing new models, being innovative, piloting new frameworks, approaches, partnerships. And this project is situated at the heart of all of those initiatives. As I said, we're at a crossroads where we're doing things differently. And as I mentioned, the winners, the three winners we have here, they, in large part, I found that their projects were so successful because they were able to blend not only working with their local organizations, working with the diaspora and transnationally, also working with their communities in a very meaningful, participatory manner, which was, and I think what also set this project apart is that there was so much heart in the project. I mean, the spirit of what this endeavor was at the core, I think, for all of us. It stayed true, and it really made us partner together, and we had a similar goal and a similar spirit and value in what we were trying to accomplish. And to me, that's what makes the DPA so special as a project.
Thank you. Let me ask this question to Miyamoto. When you're looking at your participation in this role, what was your main vision and your main goal in supporting as part of an implementing partner with the diaspora groups?
Thank you so much. Well, first I want to thank HRA. I want to thank Ambassador Joseph. I want to thank colleagues at USAID BHA, the business leaders we have gathered, our visiting colleagues, and all of the distinguished guests that are together. We're really, really honored to be at the table. I'm particularly honored, and I want to acknowledge my colleagues in the room, if you can wave, who have been working very closely on this project. We have others too on the Miyamoto team who've been deeply, deeply involved over the COVID period, very, very committed. So we're very honored to be a part of this work, and I really send my thanks. Our role was to bring what we had learned in other contexts, but also to provide the kind of catalytic support knowledge exchange, capacity strengthening that you heard on the video when it comes to technical knowledge, but also being there as a partner hand in hand. When we partner worldwide, we come and we stay. Our model of localization with the local businesses that we work with is for the long term. In Haiti, we have had a very, very strong presence since 2010. And so the idea of not just sharing, providing a platform, supporting knowledge exchange, but also reaffirming our commitment as a long-term partner in Haiti to provide that kind of catalytic support going forward.
Thank you, Elizabeth. I'm going to follow on with question for a question for Vistant for Mr. Ektop. This is actually really related to this. How has the current contest and the environment in Haiti affected the project implementation? As you mentioned before, the challenges, but maybe you can speak a little bit more about the context.
Yes, I know initially, of course, we, had to put some planning into it, and we worked with Daniela and team at the beginning to figure out what was the best way to at least start this project. And then, of course, since we, started the, that planning process and went through everything, we learned so much along the way. Just kind of looking back retrospectively, we probably should have planned longer, but we didn't do that. But I think, of course, the time that we spent doing the virtual part of this project, as far as getting it off the ground, was very important. We did listen to the partners as well. We didn't just award a contract and say, here, this is what you're supposed to do, because that would not have worked. Mm-hmm. What we did was we took in input from everyone involved. What would work in this situation? What do you guys think would happen if we did it this way? Does this make sense that if we put this type of deliverable or step in the contract? So it was a partnership together. We did not come in with an objective. We listened, we worked together. And even along the way, we were able to iterate and change things that made the projects better. So that was important. So of course, you can only plan so much, but what we have a unique ability to do on this project, we can put in learning as the project is active and not wait to the end. So that was, I think, one of the most important aspects, because I think even on your project, Beverly, we initially started with a certain objective, but we couldn't do that based on what happened with COVID and everything, and some suppliers and things like that. So we had to change how we approach some of the context of the contracts as well. So it was important to be able to shift, pivot, and move forward.
Excellent. That's a very good. I'm going to retain that. Shift. What did you say? Shift?
Shift, pivot, and move forward.
There you go. Shift, pivot, and move forward. I would like to now sort of ask some questions to the winners, specifically, because really it's about celebrating you today and about your accomplishments with this project. So I'm going to ask Mr. Emmanuel first. A couple questions. And actually, the question's actually for all of you, but I'll ask Mr. Emmanuel to answer first. Now that you have gone through this granting process, and what has been your experience? What can you speak about as a result of your experience with the DPA?
Sure. I mean, I think, God, and I'm not saying this because they are all here, but I think we have something in terms of. I've been working on this project for about 10 months now. I know what Miyamoto is thinking, right? I know what the team at Vistant is thinking. And so when I'm meeting with the group in Haiti, we all can sit together and say, okay, here is what everybody brings to the table. If we have a concern, what is the Miyamoto perspective? What is the Vistant perspective? And we are able to get to a solution because we consider all the perspectives. And I think that's what our folks in Haiti are looking for, right? They're not looking for people to come in and teach them how to cultivate the land. They've been doing that since they were babies, all right? Our masons built the campus that we have at our school that withstood the earthquake, right? But what they were looking for was that knowledge transfer. And I think this is what the project has done really, really well, is build the capacity of our local staff to do things better, right? And I think And it was never felt like we were in competition or this big bad USAID over there. It really felt that we were in collaboration. We were partnering with Viston. We were partnering with Miyamoto. And I think when we think about international development, that's a huge win, especially when it comes to Haiti. And so I think we have, even though this is maybe the first cohort, but I think that the thing that we have to do now is to kind of figure out all the best practices, and there are a lot, and figure out how to expand those and double those. Because if we are able to do that, I think we have a lot more collaboration with the people in Haiti and international partners in the diaspora.
Thank you. I'll ask the same question then, if you would mind answering.
Sure. I'll kind of work backwards from today to the beginning, actually. I'm a faculty member, professor, and a researcher at a university, and I've had big grants, and I've never walked in after a grant and wanted to hug everybody. And I don't know that you build that kind of rapport and trust and kind of connection when you do big things, right? I mean, these kinds of projects. This particular project really created teams across teams and cheering for each other. Watching the Caribou video and what a great job they did, and hearing about what Martinois is doing, and that kind of social capital, if you will, doesn't get formed a lot of times in really big projects, in my experience. So this was a really special experience in that way. From the implementation standpoint, I need to recognize Dr. Tony Voltaire and the 100 people that work in Bourne that every day do the work that's being done on the ground. And for our approach, we have a hospital, we have a clinic, we serve people every day. We're the only clinic and hospital in Haiti that's been open 24/7, 365 days a year for the last 23 years. We're the only place that's done that. And we're really proud of that. And that includes state-run hospitals. But what we were limited in our ability to do was to really be in the field every single day, observing what was going on in the community through our kind of unique model of mobilizing those resources. We could do it to the best of our ability. This allowed us to do it every day. And it saved lives. We did over 20,000 vaccines, including COVID vaccines. We did 12 mobile clinics, served 5,000 people. That coalesced a team. It got us back together in a lot of ways post-COVID. It was hugely impactful structurally and in terms of the direct impact on the community. And then I would say, going back to the beginning, as an organization, the exercise of actually having to mobilize your network to vote for you was really kind of fun and crazy and stressful, but it really tested, right? How do you use LinkedIn? How do you use, every imaginable way to mobilize your network? It was a great learning experience. It wasn't necessarily fun, but it was a great learning experience, and it got the community in Bourne engaged. It got communities around the world engaged in ways that we never imagined. So whoever thought of that, I'm guessing it might have been Magali. It was genius.
Thank you. That's wonderful. Let me ask Ms. Malbroche, if you mind asking the same question.
Yeah, definitely. So it's been a great journey. And it's so funny when we talk about the competition itself, because we were very nervous, first time doing things of that nature, but also it really allowed us to think outside of the box. How do I engage more people to know about what we are doing, but also for them to be involved. And I think that's been part of our success, where we get people from all over the U.S. And even Haitians outside of the U.S. reaching out, wanting to participate in one form or another. And what I really, really liked about this project was that, as Daniela said, it allowed the diaspora to be in the driver's seat. And it allowed us also to build our internal capacity. And one of the biggest takeaways for me was, now we know how to measure impact and report impact even with the small data that you're able to collect in Haiti. And that happened during COVID. We were hoping to even go there more frequently and do more, do larger training sessions. So if we can do so much with limited resources, how much more can we do with more resources? But it also gave us a chance to think, okay, now that we are in the driver's seat, how do we engage the local talent in Haiti? And we've been able to find, amazingly, people who are not only resourceful and educated, but also so driven and passionate within Haiti to move it forward. One example was to do the training with the cocoa farmers. At first, we were going to do coffee, but it's been so many changes in Haiti. Cocoa was the one we were able to do. The trainer was a young man in Haiti. He went to university in Haiti, did multiple training in agriculture, went to Canada, did some more research, and he went to these very, very remote areas to perform the training. And what we found out is we were able to hire 2 different agronomists, so the talent is there. And they were so happy to be able, not just to have a contract, but to move Haiti's production, agriculture forward. So I really love the fact that it was a structured program, but also it was very tailored, considering the size of the organization and also the situation in Haiti.
That's wonderful. That's really wonderful. Would you like to add something to that?
Yeah, actually, I was listening to all the comments from the winners. I really got goosebumps. Is that the word? So, because when we set out to do this, and it's like we didn't know exactly how it would turn out, because this was the first time really innovative. And I'm grateful, and I really have to thank Daniela, really, for thinking outside of the box, because it was not easy to, it's not, okay, the project itself, but really to find the vehicle or the mechanism to make this work. And for those of you who have not worked with the U.S. government before, it's not as easy as you think to go through the procurement process and to get a contract. There's a lot of steps that you have to take, and it's really with thinking, we say, okay, how are we going to do this? And it was the willingness to do it that drive the success of this.
Wonderful. I see much lesson learned in our future here. But Daniela, yes, maybe you want to talk a little bit about what Firmin says. Where do you see the innovative mechanism moving forward?
Well, the idea of the DPA was to learn how to do things differently. I mean, we had to pilot it. We had to test these partnership dynamics. So, I mean, what I'm really looking forward to is we have a final report that has to come from everyone, getting all of the lessons learned about what worked, what didn't work, how can we continue to flip the tables, flip the system on its head so that we have larger companies like Miyamoto, that they can be, have them be flexible and adaptable to the needs of diaspora. Or what do we need to do, for example, with diaspora for this particular project? We had a lot of tailored capacity building sessions, training sessions that were chosen, the topics were chosen by the different winners. It wasn't imposed by us. I personally thought that was a very successful element because it's tailored for what people need on the ground. And so the idea is, well, taking this forward, we're not going to change how U.S. government funding and money flows, but we can change the things that are within our control, changing these dynamics, learning from how we can shift things a little differently. And I think just also to pick up on what Atop said earlier, what was really interesting also about this project was the ability, especially because they're smaller companies with such high degrees of local knowledge, the ability for us to be able to pivot because of the humanitarian context on the ground. Every single one of these winners, every single one, to the health clinics and getting them, and certainly the agriculture, every single one had to pivot, and because of their in-depth knowledge of the communities, of the context, we were able to do so more easily than if it were a different type of partner.
Thank you. Well, that brings me to the point where you guys raised up about the trainings. Can you speak a little bit about how the company decided on their trainings? Maybe we'll talk with you, Ms. Malbush. Yes. Sorry. And then Etop, maybe you can talk. I'll ask Ms. Malbranche, Mr. Myers, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, definitely. So when you think of agriculture, it's a long-term endeavor. So our goal, as the ambassador mentioned, Haiti used to be a major coffee exporter, is okay, if we are trying to change the life of people, really bring that forward, we have to also invest in their knowledge and standardize the way we do things so we can keep on growing. So we went back, we look at our own experiences as a small company. What are some of the issues we face with our suppliers, as our farmers? Especially for the chocolate cocoa, it was not standardized. And we realized, well, this is a critical point where if we invest in the people, in their knowledge, that will allow them to grow, not just their farm, their business, but also change their livelihood. And the same concept can be applied to other crops within the agricultural sector, and even in the future reduce the famine crisis that we face in Haiti. So we look for trainers that were very familiar with the local market, that were invested in the local economy and the people there, but also very well experienced in the field that they were going to teach. And before we even planned the training session, we had an idea because we know what issue we face, but we allowed the farmers to say, here is what I need help with. Here is what I don't know. You know, when it's raining season, my crops are getting wet, I don't know what to do. So, and we've also gathered feedback. Like the trainer, we found out that the closest source of water was like 2 hours away, and how that can affect production. So all of those things that we were not even planning on learning or finding out, we were able to discover because we allowed the people again to be in the driver's seat saying, here's what we need help with, and then we figured out, okay, here's how we can help them.
Thank you. Dr. Myers, maybe you can talk a little bit about what the trainings or...
I was going to ask Dr. Voltaire if he wanted to comment at all on it. He was physically there. I'll just say that I'm really grateful to the Miyamoto team for putting us in touch with a great organization called AJERCA, local Haitian-based organization that helped us do that work. Do you want to say something about the AJERCA training, Tony? Yeah.
First, I want to thank you for that opportunity. We had to not only perform our Sotenalaku model, and then with the training, we had another form to prevent problems or disasters in the community, because we face every day all kind of disasters in Haiti. And in a remote area like Boy, it is another situation very complicated. And for me, it is another form of collaboration. It is very important for us to receive the trainer at home, and then doing it is like some kind of collaboration that allow us to understand more the community, to be more prepared for other situations. And we had another opportunity to apply what we learned, because we were faced the new outbreak of cholera in the community, and we were able to apply what we learned, what we were prepared for in the field. And thank you.
Thank you. For those who don't know, Ajarka is a private sector-led group, if you will, that manages risks and disaster mitigation opportunities. And they were developed initially by the Association of Haitian Industries, or Haitian Manufacturers Industries, ADI. So I just want to point that out because what I'm hearing is that we're leveraging existing opportunities on the ground and making them fit to where we need to be. And my question is going to be to you, Mr. Emmanuel. How did you determine the types of trainings that you needed? And I'm assuming I'll follow up with them with Miyamoto and with ETOP overall.
No, I think for the training, it was looking at it small scale. So here we are on Lagonav. We have these beautiful houses going up. Now the question is how we were going to recruit residents to move into these houses, right? And I took it as a challenge that what we learned from our experience in Lagonav could be used as a model countrywide, right? Because I went for a site visit in April, and when I was leaving one of the construction sites, older woman, I think maybe age 60, and she came up to me, she said, "It's so beautiful," right? Part of it was just for me to say, "Oh, yes, it is beautiful." But she went on to say, every morning, despite how bad things were, she can look up and look at this house and look at how beautiful it was, right? And so, and to me, then I just stopped, right? Because I wanted to kind of just take it in and realize that in this area, there hasn't been really any investment to speak of before this project. And so here is someone just reflecting on how beautiful it is. She wants the right person to move into this property. And so my job was to kind of sit down with Miyamoto, sit down with the team, trying to figure out, okay, how do we do this, right? Because, there wasn't a lot for me to go by, right? And the team was very open, making sure that we were speaking with experts on the ground, people who have experience working in Haiti, and that mattered. So again, I think the fact that the team was so in tune with what we were doing on the ground was always impressive.
Thank you. When we're talking about construction or reconstruction and other sorts of activities, I know Miyamoto is instrumental in helping the Haitian government set up sort of guides. This is a project that we did about, God, when was it? 15 years ago, 10 years ago, right after the earthquake.
That's right.
And so how did you leverage this opportunity in connection with the various winners and their focus? Can you speak a little bit towards that?
Sure. It's just beautiful to hear the stories around the table as well. I feel like we could have this conversation for hours and hours and hours and hours. So our role really was dot connecting, right? We've been in country, we have deep local networks, since 2010. And so whenever we found those opportunities, whether it was to connect to other agribusinesses or just support on the construction side or training with Hope as well, we were looking for ways to leverage our network. And I think that's a nice partnership with HRA, having the deep diaspora connections, Miyamoto with its international expertise, but also its deep Haitian networks combining to figure out how to help these businesses really succeed in various ways in the operating context. So after the 2010 earthquake, our big collaboration was on rapid damage assessments of tagging structures and helping local communities understand whether or not they were safe for reentry. And that included homes as well as hospitals and schools. And, we supported the capacity strengthening of MTPTC at the time and local engineers, and continued with that methodology, expanded it further to multi-hazard, and have been continuing to work across public and private sector on this kind of knowledge exchange. So the linkage there is we are here to support the depth of the long-term knowledge and the sustainability of that knowledge and the various ways it takes shape in the Haitian context. And so we are not prescriptive. We are very open and adaptable in trying to figure out what's going to work, what is the need. As I was saying, the context drives the content. So we think about what networks do we have, what do we know internally, what can we leverage from our knowledge of the Haitian experience and our office in Haiti to be able to bring to bear the success of others. And the other point that I want to make as I'm listening around the table is people, 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 people. We talk about, what it is to have a successful program or a successful project. At the end of the day, it's about forward progress. It's about what does that work trigger that will be self-sustaining. And I'm hearing that all across the remarks. The adaptability, the flexibility, the trust, the relationship building, the openness, the problem solving. People at the center is what delivers progress in humanitarian assistance, in risk reduction. And this is such a beautiful example of how putting people in the center of the business, driving the decisions, Haitian communities in the center of decision-making is yielding this kind of incredible forward momentum and ripple effect of progress.
Thank you. That is very true. If you want to address that as well, and then I will love to have some questions from the audience.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Elizabeth. I just also wanted to recognize a couple colleagues, Catherine and George Washington in the back. As soon as they heard about what we're doing today, they were just thrilled to join us. Allison, Angela, and Amanda, who have worked on these projects as well. Just want to thank them as well. But there's a couple things I wanted to mention, and it was kind of floating around. Mechanism came up, and the one thing about how this all came together was because of the Innovative Design Services mechanism that we manage with USAID. And it's an awesome project, and what really makes it unique is the ability to truly be flexible and adaptive and innovative and fast forwarding opportunities very fast. And usually a project or a government contract cannot change or improve. Typically, when you make a contract, you manage the deliverables and everything that you lay out, and that project is going to continue to run as you planned it from that beginning, but you can't change it mostly. And that's one of the biggest challenges with a lot of contracts. And in this project, we truly had the flexibility and freedom to change when needed. And if we didn't, I don't think we would have maybe finished or accomplished a lot of these projects if we couldn't change. And that was the true essence of how we were able to be successful, I think, is the ability to really make an amendment to a contract when you need it and not wait months and weeks and all this time. So what I encourage is, our USA colleagues and others to really look at how we can do more mechanisms that can be flexible, innovative, adaptive, and quickly change when needed, because it really changes the whole landscape and allows projects to end successfully, allows lives to be impacted. And it's just a better way, in my opinion, to do business. I had the opportunity to be on this project from the beginning, and if we were, kind of stuck to the script, I just don't think we could have made it, especially when we're talking about projects that had a goal of being implemented in another country. Most projects that we had, some of them are virtual, but when you're talking about actual construction, farmers, you're talking about people's lives on health, you can't do anything if you're stuck to a script that doesn't work. So having mechanisms like this was very important, and it allowed sustainability as well. And that's where the training came in. So, we made sure that training was a great opportunity for others to learn in the project as well. And that was included in some of the scope. So folks could really feel that it wasn't just, hey, build this house and we're out of here. It was, no, train them to build their houses better. So I think it was a great success all the way around, and we would love to see more of this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I invite some of the audience to, if you have any questions, please. Hold on. I'll come over to you.
Thank you. Hi, yeah. Afternoon all, Gilbert St. Jean, a friend of HRA. And a question to Dr. Villacrez and also Ms. Schmidt of USAID, if, and also, the rest of the panelists can input too. So this is all very inspiring, the DPA and what's being presented here. And with that said, to USAID, so you mentioned about how this is, you're at a crossroads, right? In deciding how to go about further humanitarian assistance. So with programs like this, initiatives like this, what does this look like 5 to 10 years from now? Next question.
Thank you.
I'll take a stab first, Maggie, and then I'm happy to pass it as well. I mean, that's what our division's work is all about, right? Trying to do things differently, this is a pilot, but pilots need to be scaled, they need to be sustained, otherwise it's just one-offs. And we have a team dedicated to trying to make inroads. We have other programming as well to make inroads into the humanitarian architecture, the coordination structures, to make these changes lasting. For this particular project, I would love it personally to continue. I think to take these lessons learned and be able to do it again, we would have to find another innovative mechanism, another contract like we did with the IDS and with Vistant. Maggie, would you like to add anything?
Sure. I think as well, thank you for the question. Daniela mentioned, and it's been talking, the lessons learned. There are going to be a lot of really good, there's a lot of good data that's going to be coming out of this, and a lot of good experience and feedback that we need to take, because we know that we need to change the way we're working to continue this sort of work. The will is there. And as Daniela said, part of that lies within our division to pilot and to test and to work on it again. And then I point to my other colleagues who are here from the Haiti response, and I'm very grateful for their presence here, because that is also, our work doesn't happen and should not happen in isolation. It needs to work with our different colleagues across USAID, and then we need to share that with other donors and the broader community. I know that there are no specifics because we don't know. We're waiting to find out, and from there, then we base our next steps. But we'd love to stay in touch and talk about what this looks like next. Thank you.
Thank you. I know there's one more question, but I also wanted to point out that there has been some movement, if you will, within the U.S. government in putting together some opportunities through the Global Fragility Act. They're making Haiti an important part of the administration's vision. So I think there's really opportunities here for us to explore further.
Super quick. This is excellent. I think HRA and others who have made this happen. How do we leverage what seems to be a successful model to combat the perception that you cannot partner with diasporal organizations? And how do you also use this kind of success models to encourage ethical and other productive and successful models for partnership?
Who wants to answer this question? Do you have anybody you are directing this to? Specific?
Yeah, there is always a myth that, diaspora organizations that do not have the capacity to handle small or large projects. It doesn't matter what it is. At HRA, we've done a variety of smaller projects. We did a project with the United Nations Foundation. We partnered with IOM to do a very large-scale project, to really develop the framework for diaspora coordination in humanitarian assistance, which was really successfully piloted during the 2021 earthquake. I think that there are a lot of stories here to be told. So particularly when we're talking about how this program was successful as a result of partnering with the diaspora, that's the reason why that I think that we're doing this here as a closing to talk about it and really to take the message here to the donors or to organizations who are thinking about partnering with diaspora so that they can hear, okay, the success stories and take a leap of faith and test it, try it out. There's nothing to lose, but there's a lot to gain by learning from the experience of partnering with organizations or people that you have naturally or do business with before.
Thank you. I have one more question here.
Hi, this was a very informative panel. I just was wondering what is going to be sort of the metrics of success for this program, and how are the local perspectives going to be taken into consideration? Because as you know, oftentimes when it comes to sort of auditing and metrics, it's all about the numbers. How much money was spent, how many people were reached, but the locals are very much alienated. And we know that Haiti was one of the first development experiments with the UN since 1947, and look at the country now. So in terms of having a sustainable impact and including the local perspectives, what are the innovative ways that you're going to be measuring success for this program?
I think for this, I'll turn it to the winners, because we have, for this final report, we're trying to exactly just get the lessons learned, see how we can replicate these dynamics. And we had a survey, they've collected data. We have Beverly's input. She surveyed the local communities and local partners. So I'll let the winners answer this. I can start.
So definitely, considering the local folks who are directly impacted, that to us, that was primary. And for us, it wasn't only the farmers, but also we were able to do some training with students in Haiti, and we were able to collect their feedback. And that's when I mentioned that the program was tailored. Like, we took that to heart, because coming from Haiti, I remember when I was going to school, I had no idea that I would be involved in any form of shape in agriculture. It was either lawyer, doctor, or engineer. Maybe my younger cousin's gonna be the doctor of the family, but definitely not me. But I realized that agriculture is a pillar for development and also has large humanitarian impact, even in terms of like gender equality. I mean, just us, we were able to hire 150 women to handpick the coffee beans, and they are contracted every year. And now we are moving to seeing almost half of the farmers are women-led farm and all of that. And because of the training, now we know, all right, we need to keep track of who are, what's the composition looking like, or how is that dynamic changing, so we can see over 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, the long-term success. So definitely people first, as we mentioned, but I think as a pilot, for me, I'm still gathering information and see how we can do this better, but a big part of the success will be the longevity of this project or similar project.
Thank you. Does anybody else want to answer that question?
I think from our perspective, and we are a local organization, right? Dr. Tony has a staff of 100. There's a small community board that advises us on everything. The community tells us essentially what they need and want. So the whole model is based on a model of community partnership that engages thousands of people in that process. And I think so we're constantly sort of capturing that voice of the community in terms of needs assessment and defining sort of what we do with delivering care to the community. I will just say, in my experience here in this year, I've never worked with a U.S. government agency that has almost obsessively asked the same question. Daniela has been a really consistent voice for what are people in the community saying? What's happening in the community? We met monthly on almost that topic alone. I mean, we met to report out, but it was not about the numbers. It was about sort of what are you learning and what's the community saying and how's it impacting the community. So I valued that experience. I don't know, do you want to add anything to that, Tony?
First, most of the programs in Haiti are not successful because the conception. And for that program, you choose what you want to do. you choose your own strategy. That means if you want to change a population, a country, you need to give the lead to the country. It's not you have a plan, you go to and you see here you have the plan to change your situation. But that program is another. It's like Santenalaku. We began at the root of the problem to go to the solution. And I think our best experience is with that program and to see if you are in the ground, you need just about 10% of the resources to solve the same problem. It is very important.
So I'm Haitian, right? And I think as a Haitian, whatever privilege I have is to make sure that the people in Haiti, we speak the same language, that they are always represented. And so as Haitians, we know there's a game that's played on the ground with international donors. Tell me what you want me to say. You want me to say this is good? This is good, Cody. I mean, so everybody walks away, right? USAID walks away with a false impression of how things worked. The population walked away. Well, we got a free breakfast out of it, so food. We walk away, right? So everyone is into the game, right? And so as someone who already knows that dynamic, when I had a conversation with our team just a couple of days ago, because we are just starting the process of our survey, and they said, Cody, how honest should we be? I said, be honest, right? Because there's nothing that you're going to say that I've not already communicated to Vista, to DPA, to everyone. At this time, they should know all the challenges. So just give it to us, right? And I think when I said that, oh my God, they gave it to us. They gave it to me. They were like, okay, well, blah, 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 blah. But nothing that is going to come out of that survey should surprise our partners, right? Because they've heard it since day one. And I think that is that genuine conversation that we need to have. People who are, like for us, who have the privilege to be here, to say, no, here are the real conversations that we need to have with our partner on the ground, right? If they are really our partner, let's have these conversations. And everyone have to kind of put their ego on the side and say, okay, how do we get this done, right? And I think that's what this work for me has been about, making sure that we are communicating honestly with one, they're communicating honestly to me. Cody, here is where you did well, and here is where you dropped the ball. I'm communicating to our partners to say, here is how this project could be better. But everyone is on the same page. A couple of weeks ago, we spent about 5 hours talking about the right mortgage product, right? That we can because our teachers make about $400 a month, so maybe like what? That's $6,000 a year, right? How do we create a product that will allow them to purchase these houses, 10, 15, 20 years down the line? That's the question that we had to struggle with, right? Miyamoto, Vistin gave us the framework, but it was up to us on the ground to kind of really struggle with that. Okay, how do we make this work, right? But that was empowering for itself. No one was telling this group what to do. It was just, guys, here are the parameters. Here's what we're thinking about. What do you guys think? And it was a heated conversation. It was emotions, but it was their process. They owned it.
I just want to add, I just want to add to that. When we set out to do the investors thing, it was all about how do we select 3 projects that can create an impact in the local community. When we did the investors thing, we had 56 applications, we chose 13, and then we did the Shackleton style, and we did the what's that show? American Idol style, to what the public participate. We had no idea, really, how many people would participate. Because to us, it was not about, the numbers at all. And to Daniela also, when we discussed it, was not about that at all. It was about really picking 3 projects that would make an impact. Surprisingly, we had over 1 million interaction on Facebook. We had over 30,000 people voted. And the show was watched live by over 10,000 people. But those numbers would mean nothing to us at all. The testimony of the winners, the work that they did to impact the community, that was most important. I know that a lot of time in the humanitarian space, numbers means a lot. But to us is what the people who are receiving the assistance from this project. That's what we're looking for. To us, that's what that makes us happy, or the fact that this project had impact on the people, on the local community.
Can I add to that too? Yeah. Just one last comment, and I think for us at BHA, it was about how are we all working together seamlessly so that we can learn. I keep saying it, but it's really about a partnership dynamic, about an innovative partnership model, so that we can do this again and do it better and work with diaspora more. I mean, that's what it was about. It wasn't about the numbers. It was about the impact on the community, working with local organizations, genuinely putting actions to words when we say localization agenda or increased diversity in HA perspectives, and learning from the dynamics so we can scale it.
To build on that, as an organization that's grounded in science, testing, learning, refining, innovating is core to the scientific process. Seldom do you get it right the first time. Just to say incremental is okay. Big things are built from things that are small. Big things are built from things that are small. So let's keep going. Let's keep going.
We certainly agree with that. I mean, thank you. I want you guys to please say thank you to all the panels with your applause.
When we did the investors think about 18 months ago, I should say, that we didn't have an opportunity to present the award to the winners. So I said, okay, since we're going to do a closing ceremony, we're going to use that opportunity to present the award to the winners of the investors thing.
Oh, yeah. No, it's okay. I'm happy to finally give a proper award ceremony and a proper celebration to all of the winners.
So to begin with, I have the first big check here to Caribou. He's a winner from Africa. And the next one is Hope. Coming down. Winner in the health sector. And Friends of Matenois, winner in the shelter sector. That, I would say, we bring in the closing ceremony to a close. And I want to acknowledge and I want to thank everyone who have come here to participate in the closing ceremony. And I want to thank from the bottom of our heart, HRA heart, and I should speak for the entire Haitian diaspora, Daniela. We want to thank you for seeing that working with the diaspora can make sense. Thank you.